Hello everyone, my name is Andrew. Today we continue learning Python and today we'll talk about inheritance. So why we need it in object-oriented programming, what is it, who needs to use it, and why is it useful. So let's start. Once again, today we'll talk about inheritance, and if you have no idea about classes, objects and all of that stuff, then probably you should watch my videos on that topic. So I already have like 3 of those, and yeah, just watch them and after that come back to that lesson. So why we need to use inheritance? Before I dive into that, I want to talk about the most common and the nastiest error of all programmers. It's when you copy your code. So what is the problem with copying one piece of code to another class, another scope, another method, or another function, project, and so on? When you copy your code, you double every error. So imagine that you have class A that has like x10, y20, then we have some function that just simply returns self x plus self y. Very simple class. And now imagine that we need to create class B that uses the same logic. So the code is completely the same. What is the solution for that? The easiest solution is to copy all of that and paste it right here. But why that solution is awful? That is the most awful thing that you can ever do in any program. Because now, imagine that you have a bug in that code. For example, I accidentally divide on 0. What happens? Well, what happens? Now, if I found out that I have bug in my class A, I need to remove it here. But also, I need to know that I have the same code in my class B. I need to remove it here. Second of all, our code it's copied. It's unreadable. So we have like the same thing here, the same thing here. And imagine that you have 20 folders, 30 files, and in each of those files you have different parts of other classes from other files, and that is just awful. You don't have any structure in your code, you don't have anything that is considered to be a good program. And because of that, what we're going to do is use inheritance. So I love inheritance because it is the concept that allows us not to copy ourselves. Once again, the nastiest problem in every program, in every programmer, so I often do those mistakes, but the nastiest problem with the code is when you copy your one piece of code to another file, another scope, or anywhere else. When you copy your code, that is the nastiest problem. And inheritance allows us to remove that problem completely. So we answered the first question, why inheritance? And let's remove it. Yeah, as you can see, I'm going through those questions. Okay, class A, we have inheritance. So how can we use it? And what is inheritance? So inheritance is a concept, once again, object-oriented programming concept that allows you to copy your logic without copying your code. So as you can see, we have class A, and once again, as I said, we need to implement class B with the same, that has the same logic, the same code, and so on. So we have class A. And with class B, what we can do? We can use parentheses and add A here. So what does that mean? That means that our class A is a parent, so parent class, and class B is a child class. So parent and child, what does that mean? That means that class B implements all the logic, has all the variables, all the methods, all the functions of class A, all the properties, everything from class A. And that is very, very useful because as you can see, I do not copy my code. Why do we need to use inheritance in the first place? So why is it useful? Because in programming, there are tons of moments when I need to copy my logic, my implementation, but I don't want to copy my code because why do I need to copy my code? That is, once again, the nastiest problem with every application. And because of that, what I can do is just simply use inheritance. And also what can I do is add my unique logic for that class. So for example, a divide function that will self x divided to return self x divided by self y. So that is a very, very powerful stuff, because now what we can do, let's create a simple object equals b, and what we can do with that object is object divide. Of course we can do it. Let's do it 0.5. Why is that? Because self x, which is 10, divided by self y, which is 20, is 0.5. So yeah, like 0.5, half of y, x is half of y, and that is why we have that result. And as you can see, I do not have any variables of self x and self y in my B class, because I inherited those properties, those variables from my parent class, from my A. So once again, that code says that class B inherits from class A. It gets all of the variables, all of the methods from class A. Okay, and also we have sum. Sum works perfectly fine, once again, because we inherit all of our methods. So sum was in my class A, and because I use class A as a parent, I get all of the functions, and sum is a function, so I get it as well. Now I can use that logic in my B class. But as you can see, I do not copy code. So that is very, very powerful. I cannot stress how great and how awesome it is to use inheritance, because who needs to use it? Like the final question, who needs to use inheritance? Everyone. Because if you ever work with, well, not everyone, but everyone, every person who works with the object-oriented programming. Because if you have ever worked with classes and objects, you know that there are moments when you need to copy one code from one class to another class. And that is when you want and need, when you're required, when you must use inheritance, because that is the most powerful concept. Well, not in programming, but one of the most powerful concepts in object-oriented programming, inheritance. There are tons of things that you can do with inheritance. A simple example, once again, that is, you can look at that code, class A is a parent, class B is a child. Very simple. But one simple example of inheritance. What you can do is, for example, you have two data sources, file and database. So it doesn't matter what file and what database is, it doesn't matter. There's two separate data sources. And what you can do, and you need to merge or do some operations with both of those data sources in your program. And what you can do with inheritance is create a base class. So base class or parent class, which is called data source. So as you can see, it's not database source, it's not file source, it's not database data source, it's just data source, any data source. And what you can do here is use open function to open a connection, open our file or anything else. We can use write function to write data to our source. We can use self data here. And after that, once we're done with our data source, what we can do is use file source to create data source for our file and implement some unique logic here. For example, we can reassign open. Well, no, let's not reassign open because that's a topic for another lesson. But we can use whatever we want. We can use file open and still use write and open function from our data source. After that, we can create our database source as a data source and also do whatever we need to do here. And also, if you put pass, you don't implement any new logic, but all of the functions and variables, so everything from your parent class, in our case, parent class is a data source, is implemented in your child class, database source or file source. If you put pass, nothing changes. But you also want to use inheritance with custom logic, because if you just use it like that, then it depends, because there are some cases when you want to use inheritance like that. And there are some of the coolest cases, and we'll talk about them a little bit later, but those are some of the greatest cases in object-oriented programming, and that's why I like it. That is my most likable method of programming. So functional programming, object-oriented programming, and then functional programming are two of my best and my most loved methods of coding. That is the whole idea about about inheritance in object-oriented programming. Okay, so that is the end of the video. Subscribe to my channel, leave a like, leave a comment. If you want to work with me, then just simply write me an email, write me in my Telegram channel, subscribe to my Telegram channel, write me in TikTok, subscribe to my TikTok. So just I'll see you around. And that is the whole idea about inheritance. So again, it's a very, very broad video, but I think that you get the idea of inheritance, and that is the most crucial, the most essential idea of that material. So thank you for the watching, subscribe to my channel once again. My name is Andrew, good luck.